Hello there and welcome to the Dreamy Science channel. I'm so glad you found your way here. Maybe you had a long day, or maybe you're the kind of person who likes falling asleep to fascinating discoveries about your own mind rather than counting sheep. Either way, tonight's journey is for you. You've got nothing to do but rest. Let your mind relax, your breathing slow, and your body grow heavy as if the weight of the day itself has finally lifted. Because tonight, we aren't just exploring random facts. We're drifting through the most extraordinary organ in the known universe, the human brain. A vast network of neurons, connections, and mysteries, turning silently inside your skull right now. Over 86 billion nerve cells firing in patterns so complex that we're still learning what they mean. But beneath its power lies gentleness, secrets of memory, streams of consciousness, and ancient rhythms that whisper through your mind even as you sleep. We'll travel gently from how memories form to how your brain protects itself, from the mysteries of dreams to the power of your own thoughts. You'll hear of neuroplasticity and neurotransmitters, of the strange dance between your conscious and unconscious mind. Some of what you hear tonight may surprise you or at the very least spark some curiosity as you drift off to sleep. And just before we begin, if these calm, curious explorations help you unwind or give you a quiet way to end your day, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps others find their way here too. One sleepy soul at a time. Now let's begin. Your brain produces electrical signals that never stop firing. Every single moment of your life, your brain is generating electrical impulses. Billions of neurons are sending signals to one another through connections called synapses. These signals are so consistent, so rhythmic in their patterns, that scientists can measure them with electrodes placed on your scalp. What they've found is extraordinary. Even when you're completely still, even when you're sleeping deeply, your brain is conducting electricity. It's like a vast city that never turns off its lights. The patterns of these electrical signals change depending on what you're doing. When you're relaxed, certain wave patterns emerge. When you're focused, others appear. And when you're dreaming, the whole landscape of your brain's electrical activity transforms into something entirely different. But they never stop, not for a moment. This constant hum of electricity is the foundation of everything you think, feel, and experience. It's the quiet pulse that keeps you alive. Your brain has its own immune system separate from the rest of your body. Most people don't realize this, but your brain operates under special rules. It's protected by something called the blood-brain barrier, a selective filtering system that keeps most substances from entering. The brain needs protection because it's so delicate, so sensitive to toxins and pathogens. But it doesn't just rely on this barrier. Your brain also has its own immune cells called microglia. These tiny guardians drift through the neural tissue, constantly patrolling, constantly on alert. They're looking for dead cells, debris, misfolded proteins, and any sign of infection or damage. When they find something wrong, they activate, surrounding and consuming the problem. It's like having a night shift cleaning crew that works inside your skull while you rest. These microglia are so specialized that they perform tasks differently than immune cells anywhere else in your body. They're not aggressive and inflammatory like immune cells typically are. They're gentle, surgical, precise. They know that your brain's survival depends on a delicate balance. Too much inflammation, even in response to a real threat, can damage the very tissue they're trying to protect. So they work quietly, efficiently, keeping your mind safe in ways you'll never notice. Memories aren't stored in one place in your brain. If you could somehow search through your brain looking for the memory of your 5th birthday, you wouldn't find it in a single location. Memory doesn't work like a file cabinet where you open one drawer and find everything you need. Instead, memories are distributed across networks of neurons. A single memory might have components stored in different regions of your brain. The visual aspects might live in one area. The emotional weight of that memory might live in another. The sounds you heard might be encoded in yet another region. When you recall that birthday, your brain retrieves these scattered pieces and weaves them back together into a coherent experience. It's like your brain is a vast orchestra, and remembering is the process of bringing all the different sections back into harmony. But here's something extraordinary. Every time you recall a memory, it gets slightly altered. The act of remembering actually changes the memory itself. You're not accessing a perfect record the way a camera stores video footage. You're recreating an experience from distributed pieces, and each recreation is slightly different from the last. Your memories are living things in a way. They change as you change. They're influenced by what you've learned and experienced since that memory first formed. In a very real sense, your past is constantly being rewritten by your present. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's energy, despite being only 2% of your body's weight. Think about how unfair that seems. Your brain is roughly the size of a grapefruit, yet it demands energy like a city. It's the most metabolically expensive organ you possess. This is partly because of all those electrical signals we talked about. Generating electricity requires energy. Maintaining all those connections requires energy. But it's also because your brain is never truly resting. Even when you're sleeping, your brain is working. Even when you're not thinking about anything, your brain is thinking. It's engaged in what scientists call the default mode network, a state of internal reflection and wandering thought. This constant activity means your brain needs a steady, reliable supply of glucose and oxygen. If your blood sugar drops too low, your brain notices immediately. If oxygen is cut off for more than a few minutes, brain cells start dying. This is why your brain demands that the rest of your body keep it fed and oxygenated at all times. It's not selfish. It's just that your brain knows how important it is. Everything you are depends on this 3-pound mass of tissue continuing to run. So it takes what it needs. Your brain shrinks and grows throughout the day. This might sound alarming, but it's actually a sign of a healthy, working brain. Brain volume changes throughout your day by about 5 to 10%, depending on various factors. When you're well hydrated, your brain swells slightly as it absorbs water. As the day progresses and you move around, gravity pulls fluid out of your brain tissue. Your brain actually gets smaller. This might seem strange, but these changes are normal and temporary. They reverse overnight while you sleep. What's remarkable is that these changes happen in your gray matter, the regions packed with neuron cell bodies. Scientists used to think that the number of neurons you have was fixed from childhood. But now we know your brain is more dynamic than that. Neurons are born throughout your life in specific regions, particularly in the hippocampus, which is crucial for memory formation. Other neurons die off. Connections form and dissolve. Your brain is constantly remodeling itself. The you of today is not quite the same brain you had yesterday. It's been physically altered by your experiences, your learning, your sleep, even by something as simple as staying hydrated. Your brain is in constant flux, forever changing and adapting. Dreams happen throughout your sleep, but you only remember some of them. Your brain cycles through different stages of sleep every 90 minutes or so. About a quarter of your sleep time is spent in a state called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. During REM sleep, your eyes dart around beneath your closed eyelids in quick bursts of movement. This is when your most vivid narrative dreams occur. Your brain is incredibly active during this time. The visual cortex is firing away. Your emotional centers are engaged. But interestingly, your logical reasoning brain is quiet. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles critical thinking and reality testing, shows reduced activity during dreams. This might explain why dreams can be so fantastical, so illogical, and why it feels completely real while you're experiencing them. You accept flying or talking to people who died because the part of your brain that normally questions things is offline. What's even more fascinating is that you forget most dreams almost immediately. Dreams that happen in the early part of your sleep cycle tend to be forgotten completely. Dreams from later in the night, particularly from the final REM period before you wake, are much more likely to stick with you. This is why you might have a vivid dream just before your alarm goes off and remember it for the entire day. But earlier dreams have vanished completely by breakfast. Your brain isn't trying to forget your dreams. It's just that dreams formed during early sleep cycles get overwritten as new memories form during the night. Your brain has two main operating modes that feel almost like two different brains. There's the focused attention state, sometimes called task-positive mode, where your brain concentrates on one thing. You're reading a book, having a conversation, solving a problem. Your attention is directed outward or toward a specific task. But then there's the default mode network we mentioned earlier. This is when your brain turns inward. You're daydreaming, reminiscing, imagining future scenarios, engaging in self-reflection. Your thoughts wander. You're not focused on any particular external task. Most people think of this as an idle mode, like your brain is just killing time. But it's actually during these wandering thought states that creative insights emerge. It's when you solve problems you've been stuck on. It's when your brain consolidates memories and processes emotions. These two modes work together. You focus intensely for a while. Then you shift into a more open, wandering state. Your brain needs both. If you never allowed your brain to wander, if you kept it in focused task mode all the time, you'd become less creative, less insightful, and more anxious. But modern life doesn't really allow for much wandering time. We keep ourselves stimulated and focused from the moment we wake up until we go to bed. We check our phones while waiting in line. We listen to podcasts during walks. We're rarely allowing our brains the luxury of boredom, the gentle space where the default mode network can do its most interesting work. Your brain is about 73% water, and dehydration impacts how it functions. This seems almost too simple to mention, but it's profound. Your brain is mostly water. The neurons, the connections, the electrical signals, the chemical reactions, everything depends on water. When you're even slightly dehydrated, your brain's performance decreases. Your attention becomes harder to sustain. Your mood can shift. You might feel more anxious or irritable. Your memory becomes less reliable. Yet many people go through their entire day in a state of mild chronic dehydration without ever realizing it. They attribute their afternoon brain fog or afternoon slump to various causes, never realizing that their brain is simply asking for water. The remarkable thing is how quickly this reverses. Drink a glass of water, and within minutes, your brain function can improve. It's one of the simplest interventions available, yet it's often overlooked. Your brain monitors your hydration status constantly and signals you to drink when it's needed, but the signal isn't always obvious. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already somewhat dehydrated. This is why people are often advised to drink water regularly throughout the day, rather than waiting for thirst. Your brain needs this consistent hydration to maintain its extraordinary performance. The brain's left and right hemispheres have different specializations, but work together seamlessly. For a long time, people believed in a false dichotomy. The left brain was logical, analytical, verbal. The right brain was creative, intuitive, visual. People would describe themselves as left-brained or right-brained as if one side dominated. But this is a massive oversimplification. Yes, the hemispheres have different specializations. The left hemisphere does tend to handle language and logical analysis more heavily. The right hemisphere does tend to handle spatial reasoning and holistic processing, but they're constantly communicating. They share information across a thick bundle of neural fibers called the corpus callosum. Your brain works best when both hemispheres are engaged and communicating. A musician uses both hemispheres, the left for understanding rhythm and structure, the right for feeling the emotion and improvising. A mathematician uses both, the left for logical steps, the right for intuitive leaps. You need both. The idea that people are dominated by one hemisphere or the other is neurologically inaccurate. But it persists because it's a useful simplification. The reality is messier and more integrated. Your brain is constantly balancing and coordinating information from both hemispheres to create a unified experience of consciousness. Your brain creates your sense of self, but scientists still don't fully understand how. You have a sense that you are you, a continuous identity that persists from moment to moment. But if you really think about it, this is mysterious. Your brain is constantly changing at the cellular level. Your neurons are different. Your connections are different. Your chemistry is different. Yet you experience yourself as continuous. Somehow your brain maintains this sense of self, this narrative identity, despite the constant physical changes. It's partly based on memory, the continuity of your autobiographical past. It's partly based on your body's signals, your sense of being located in physical space. It's partly based on consistent patterns of thought and behavior, but even this doesn't fully explain it. There are patients with severe amnesia who lose all memory of their past, yet they still report a sense of continuous self in the present moment. There are people with split brain conditions, where the corpus callosum connecting their hemispheres is severed, and each hemisphere seems to have its own sense of identity, its own preferences and goals. Your sense of self is constructed by your brain. It feels like it's a fundamental truth, but it's actually a story your brain tells itself. A story that needs to be constantly maintained and refreshed. Every moment, your brain is weaving together sensory information, memories, and expectations to create this ongoing narrative of being you. Your brain can rewire itself through a process called neuroplasticity. For decades, scientists believed that the adult brain was essentially fixed. The connections you had in adulthood were the ones you'd keep. If you suffered brain damage, that was permanent. If you didn't develop certain skills as a child, you might never develop them. But this turned out to be wrong. Your brain retains the ability to rewire itself throughout your life. This process is called neuroplasticity. When you learn something new, your brain physically changes. New connections form. Existing connections strengthen. Regions of your brain can gradually shift their function if needed. If someone has a stroke that damages a particular brain region, other regions can gradually take over some of that region's function. If you learn a new skill, the brain areas devoted to that skill can expand. Musicians have larger auditory and motor cortices than non-musicians. Londoners, taxi drivers, who memorize the entire street map of London, have enlarged hippocampi. Your brain listens to what you're doing and allocates resources accordingly. This has profound implications. It means you're not stuck with the brain you were born with. You're not locked into fixed capabilities. Through learning, practice, and experience, you can literally reshape your brain. The brain you had yesterday is not the brain you have today if you've learned something new or practiced a skill. You're constantly sculpting your own neural architecture through the things you choose to do and think about. Your brain produces the same neurochemical, whether you're experiencing extreme fear or extreme excitement. Adrenaline floods your system in both cases. Your heart races, your breathing quickens, your muscles tense. But the emotional experience can be completely different. A person on a roller coaster and a person in genuine danger are experiencing nearly identical physical states, yet their conscious experiences are poles apart. A famous study had participants watch a scary movie. One group was told it was just a movie. The other was told it was real. Both had similar stress responses, but the group that knew it was fake felt much less fear because their brain reinterpreted the situation. Your brain is constantly trying to make sense of the signals it's receiving from your body and environment. The meaning it assigns to those signals shapes your emotional experience. This means you have more control over your emotions than you might think. You can influence how your brain interprets a situation, which influences how you feel about it. Your brain stores implicit and explicit memories through different mechanisms. When you deliberately try to remember something, like recalling facts for an exam or remembering what you had for lunch yesterday, you're using explicit memory. This is conscious, intentional memory. It relies on the hippocampus and the temporal lobes. But there's another type of memory called implicit memory. This is memory without conscious recall. When you ride a bicycle, you're accessing implicit memory. You don't consciously remember the steps of how to balance and pedal. Your body just knows. When you see a familiar face, your amygdala and other brain regions activate with emotions and associations before you consciously recognize who the person is. Implicit memories include procedural memories, which are skills and how-tos. They include emotional associations. They include the priming effects, where being exposed to certain words or images influences how you respond to new information. Implicit memory is powerful and often operates below your conscious awareness. You can explicitly try to forget something, to not think about a trauma or an embarrassing moment. But the implicit emotional associations persist. This is why triggers can cause strong emotional reactions, even if you're not consciously remembering the event that created the trigger. Your brain is constantly recording and storing information implicitly, creating associations and patterns that influence your behavior and emotions in ways you're not fully aware of. Your brain's processing of time is flexible and subjective. Time doesn't move at a constant rate in your brain the way it does on a clock. When you're engaged, time flies. When you're bored, time drags. Your brain has multiple systems for tracking time. One is based on attention. The more attention you devote to time passing, the longer durations seem. Another is based on novelty and memories. When you experience new things, it feels like more time has passed. Your emotional state influences duration too. Time seems to pass more slowly when you're anxious or afraid. During intense fear, time can seem to slow dramatically because your brain speeds up its processing, perceiving more moments per second. This gives you more time to respond to threats. People in accidents often report everything seemed to move in slow motion. Your brain wasn't experiencing time differently. It was processing information faster, creating the illusion that external time had slowed. Your brain contains about 86 billion neurons, and each one can connect with thousands of others. The complexity that emerges from these numbers is almost impossible to grasp. The number of possible neural connections in your brain vastly exceeds the number of atoms in the known universe. This combinatorial explosion is what allows for the vast complexity of human thought, emotion, and behavior. Yet remarkably, your brain accomplishes all of this using only about 20 watts of power. That's less than the power consumed by a dim light bulb. It's one of the most computationally efficient systems in the universe. Your brain doesn't work the way a computer works. Computers are based on binary logic, switches that are either on or off. Your brain is based on chemical and electrical signals that are variable and probabilistic. A neuron doesn't fire or not fire with certainty. It has a probability of firing based on how much stimulation it receives from other neurons. This probabilistic approach is actually more efficient for processing real-world information, which is inherently uncertain and ambiguous. Your brain is also massively parallel. Millions of neurons are processing information simultaneously. Computers, even though they might seem faster, are fundamentally serial. processing one thing after another. Your brain's parallel approach is why it excels at pattern recognition and why you can walk through a crowded room while having a conversation without tripping over anyone. Every part of your brain is doing its job at the same time. Your brain has a built-in bias toward negativity that was once adaptive. Your brain is like a smoke detector. It's more likely to have false alarms than to miss an actual fire. This is a feature, not a bug. It evolved because the cost of missing a threat is much higher than the cost of getting scared by a false alarm. So your brain is tuned to detect potential dangers. You notice threats more readily than positive things. Negative experiences are remembered more vividly than positive ones. You're more likely to dwell on criticism you received than praise. This negativity bias served our ancestors well. The person who was overly cautious, who saw threats around every corner, was more likely to survive than the person who was too optimistic. But in the modern world, this bias often works against us. We ruminate on small slights. We worry excessively about unlikely threats. We remember one negative comment more vividly than 10 compliments. Your brain is constantly scanning for what could go wrong, and it's especially attuned to social threats, to the possibility of being rejected or embarrassed or judged. This is why negative thinking seems to come so naturally. This is why small social setbacks can loom so large. This is why you remember past embarrassments with a visceral cringe decades later. Your brain is doing what it was designed to do. The challenge in modern life is learning to work with this bias rather than being enslaved by it. Your brain has specialized regions for processing faces that are remarkably specific and sophisticated. Humans are face experts. You can recognize hundreds or thousands of faces. You can detect minute changes in facial expression. You can read emotion and intention from a face within milliseconds. Much of this expertise comes from dedicated brain regions. The fusiform face area in your temporal lobe is specialized specifically for face processing. Damage to this region can result in a condition called prosopagnosia, where people lose the ability to recognize faces even though their vision is normal. They can see facial features, but those features don't combine into a meaningful identity. Your brain also contains regions specialized for processing facial expressions and for understanding the emotional meaning conveyed by a face. Your brain is so specialized for faces that you see faces in inanimate objects. You look at clouds and see faces. You look at a car front end and see a face. This is called pareidolia. Your brain is so invested in face detection that it has false positives. It would rather see a face where there isn't one than miss a real face. This speaks to how important face processing is to human interaction and survival. Humans are social creatures. Reading faces is how we navigate social relationships. Your brain has dedicated vast neural resources to this task because it matters. Your brain uses neurotransmitters to communicate, and the balance of these chemicals influences everything you feel and think. Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that allow neurons to communicate across the synaptic gaps between them. When an electrical signal reaches the end of a neuron, it triggers the release of neurotransmitters into the gap. These chemicals drift across and bind to receptors on the receiving neuron, causing that neuron to fire or become less likely to fire. This is how information flows through your brain. Dopamine is one of the most discussed neurotransmitters. It's associated with reward and motivation. When you accomplish something, when you anticipate something pleasurable, dopamine is released. Serotonin is another crucial one, associated with mood and well-being. Most antidepressants work by increasing serotonin availability. Acetylcholine is vital for attention and memory. GABA is the main inhibitory neurotransmitter, helping calm neural activity. Glutamate is the main excitatory neurotransmitter, increasing neural activity. These chemicals work in balance. Too much of one or too little of another can result in mood disorders, anxiety, depression, or other conditions. Your brain is constantly monitoring and adjusting these levels. Sleep influences neurotransmitter balance. Exercise influences it. Your diet influences it. The people you spend time with and the experiences you have all influence the neurochemistry of your brain. In a very real sense, you are your neurotransmitters. They are what make you feel the way you feel, think the way you think, and behave the way you behave. Your brain filters out most of what it perceives to prevent information overload. At any given moment, your sensory organs are bombarded with far more information than your brain could possibly process. Light is hitting your retinas from every direction. Sound waves are hitting your eardrums. Your skin is detecting temperature and pressure and texture. Your nose is detecting hundreds of odors. Your tongue is detecting flavors. If your brain tried to process all of this information consciously, you'd be overwhelmed, so it filters. Your brain uses a mechanism called selective attention to choose what to focus on and what to ignore. You can be in a crowded, noisy restaurant and focus on the conversation you're having. You can tune out the ambient noise and other conversations. This is called the cocktail party effect. Your brain is selecting a small portion of available information to process consciously while relegating the rest to the background. But here's what's fascinating. Even though you're not consciously aware of the background information, your brain is processing it. If you hear your own name spoken in the crowd, you'll suddenly notice it. Your brain was monitoring the background for that relevant information, even though you weren't conscious of it. This filtering is adaptive. It allows you to function without being overwhelmed. But it also means you're missing vast amounts of information about the world around you. You're not perceiving reality as it is. You're perceiving the small portion of reality that your brain has decided is relevant to you right now. Your brain has a blind spot, a region where the optic nerve exits the retina and no photoreceptors exist. If you cover your right eye and stare at a point with your left eye, there's an area directly to the right of your gaze where you literally cannot see anything. This is your blind spot. It's not that you see darkness in this area. You don't see anything at all. Your brain simply fills in this gap, completing the picture based on surrounding information. You don't notice your blind spot in normal life because your two eyes cover each other's blind spots. But the point is striking. Your brain is constantly filling in information that isn't actually being perceived. It's not passively receiving information from your senses. It's actively constructing your perception of reality based on sensory input combined with predictions and expectations. Sometimes these constructions are accurate, sometimes they're not. This is why optical illusions work. They exploit the brain's prediction mechanisms. This is why eyewitness testimony can be unreliable. People remember seeing things that they didn't actually see because their brain filled in details that seemed likely. Your brain isn't a camera recording what's out there. It's a creative interpreter, building a model of reality that makes sense given incomplete sensory information and what it already knows about how the world works. Your brain has a default network that hums quietly when you're not focused on anything. When you're not solving a problem or completing a task, your brain doesn't go idle. Instead, it activates what researchers call the default mode network. This is a constellation of brain regions including the medial prefrontal cortex and the posterior cingulate cortex. What are they doing? Your brain is thinking about yourself, your past, your future. It's self-referential. It's introspective. Some neuroscientists think this is where the sense of self is continually being constructed. When you zone out, when you shower, when you're driving a familiar route, your default mode network is engaged. This network seems to be important for creativity and insight. The wandering mind is engaged in crucial internal work. The person who stares out the window might be solving a problem their focused mind has been stuck on. Your brain needs this downtime. Your brain can learn while you sleep. When you sleep, your brain is not resting, it's processing. During deep sleep and REM sleep, your brain consolidates memories. Information you encountered during the day gets integrated into long-term knowledge. Motor skills get refined. Emotional experiences get processed. Your hippocampus replays events from your day and transfers information into long-term storage. This is why sleep is crucial for learning. An all-nighter before an exam is counterproductive. Your brain needs sleep to cement what you've learned. Sleep is not downtime. It's essential processing time. Your brain consumes approximately 20% of your body's energy, but distribution is uneven. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning and decision-making, is metabolically expensive. Decision fatigue is real. As you make more decisions throughout the day, your prefrontal cortex becomes depleted. You become more impulsive, less rational. This is why CEOs wear the same outfit. They're conserving mental energy. This is why you order takeout on a stressful day. The visual cortex is also expensive. Intense visual focus is tiring. Reading for hours drains you. Your brain outsources functions to habit and routine. Repeated behaviors become automated, requiring less energy. This is why breaking a habit is mentally taxing. You're burning energy on something that used to be automatic. Your amygdala responds faster than your cortex, which is why you feel fear before you think. The amygdala processes threats within 50 milliseconds. Conscious perception doesn't happen until 200 milliseconds. Your amygdala is reacting before your cortex knows what you're looking at. This was adaptive when threats were immediate. But in the modern world, your amygdala overreacts. An urgent email makes your heart race. Your cortex eventually realizes it's probably nothing. But the adrenaline surge has already happened. Your amygdala is protective but reactive in ways that sometimes don't serve you. Your brain uses metaphor as its primary language for understanding abstract concepts. You think metaphorically without realizing it. Time flies. Ideas are hard to grasp. Abstract is up, concrete is down. Your brain doesn't have direct access to abstract concepts, so it maps them onto physical experiences. Everything unfamiliar is understood in terms of something familiar. Metaphors aren't just decorative, they shape how you think. If your language talks about time as moving towards you rather than you moving toward time, your sense of time differs. Metaphor is fundamental to thought. Your brain evolved to be social. Mirror neurons activate when you watch someone perform an action. If you see someone pick up a cup, your neural circuits for picking up cups fire too. This is the basis of empathy. You're simulating their action internally. Your brain reads other people's minds automatically. When you see someone's face, you're inferring what they're thinking and feeling. Your brain is attuned to social hierarchy. You notice status. You care about reputation and fairness. You feel shame at norm violations. Your brain treats social exclusion as physical pain. The same regions that activate with physical pain activate with social rejection. Being left out is genuinely painful to your brain. This is why words hurt. This is why bullying has real neurological consequences. Your brain evolved to navigate a complex social world. Your brain generates predictions about what's going to happen next, and these predictions shape what you perceive. Your brain is a prediction machine. At any moment, it's predicting what you'll see, hear, touch, taste, smell. When sensory information comes in, your brain checks it against predictions. If it matches, great. If it doesn't, the mismatch grabs your attention. This is how attention works. This is also habituation. Move next to a highway, and the noise bothers you. After weeks, you don't notice it. Your brain predicted it. Your prediction system means you're not perceiving reality as it is. You're perceiving your brain's predictions. You're perceiving what your brain expects to see. Magicians exploit this. They manipulate your expectations so your brain doesn't predict the trick. Your brain fills in details you didn't see because it predicted they would be there. Your cerebellum is tiny, but contains roughly half your brain's neurons. The cortex has about 16 billion neurons. The cerebellum has over 40 billion. What's it doing? Handling timing and coordination. Refining movements based on feedback. When you practice a skill, the cerebellum learns. Practice is important for motor skills. Every swing of a baseball bat or piano key, your cerebellum gets feedback and adjusts. It's involved in attention and language too. Damage causes problems with timing beyond physical coordination. Your cerebellum quietly handles millions of coordinations that let you walk, run, catch, and throw without thinking. Your brain can distinguish between self-generated movement and externally caused movement. If you try to tickle yourself, it doesn't work. You know why? Your cerebellum sends a prediction signal before your movement. It tells your sensory cortex what you're about to do. When you move your hand toward your face, your cerebellum predicts the sensation of touch. Your sensory cortex receives this prediction and essentially subtracts it from the actual sensory input. The result is that you don't feel the touch because it matches what was predicted. But if someone else tickles you, there's no prediction. The touch is unexpected. Your sensory cortex registers it. You feel it intensely. This is the same mechanism that allows you to distinguish between your own voice and someone else's voice, between your own movements and the movements of others. Your brain is constantly using predictions to determine what is self and what is other. This has profound implications. It means your sense of self is built on predictions. It means your boundary between self and world is constructed by your brain's prediction engine. Your brain has specialized regions for processing numbers and quantities. You're probably not aware that you have a system in your brain specifically for numerosity, the sense of quantity. It's called the intraparietal sulcus. This region processes the approximate number of objects in a scene. It's why you can quickly tell that there are more apples in one pile than another without counting. You're not consciously counting. You're sensing quantity. Interestingly, babies and even animals have this sense. A baby can distinguish between 2 and 3 objects. A bird can roughly estimate how many seeds are in different piles. This is an ancient system. But humans also have a symbolic number system that allows us to count precisely, to manipulate numbers, to do math. This is newer evolutionarily. It's unique to humans in its sophistication. The two systems work together. When you see the number 5, both systems activate. The approximate quantity system gives you a sense of roughly how many that is. The symbolic system gives you the precise meaning. But these systems can conflict. There's a number illusion, where the same number written in different sizes looks like different quantities because the approximate system is responding to the visual size. Your brain has multiple ways of representing quantity, and they don't always agree. Your brain changes structure throughout the day, depending on what you're doing. You have fluctuations in brain size and structure that correspond to time of day and activity. Your brain tends to be smaller in the evening than in the morning because of fluid changes and metabolic cycling. But more than that, different regions of your brain expand and contract depending on what you're doing. If you're learning something intensively, the relevant brain regions swell slightly as they incorporate new connections. If you're sleeping, certain regions consolidate and prune connections. Your brain is not a static structure that remains the same all day long. It's a dynamic, fluctuating system that's constantly reshaping itself in response to your activity and your state. This happens at the microscopic level, but it's real. Your brain is physically different throughout the day. It's probably different right now than it was this morning. Your cerebral cortex is wrinkled, and the wrinkles have functional significance. Your brain has grooves and ridges. Those wrinkles are called sulci and gyri. You might think they're just random folds that allow more brain tissue to fit in the skull. And that's part of it. But the wrinkles also have functional significance. Different regions of your cortex are associated with different functions. The visual cortex is at the back of your head. The motor cortex is at the top front. The language regions are on the side. These functional areas correspond to the structure of the brain. The wrinkles organize the cortex into regions. Of course, the brain doesn't respect rigid boundaries. There's lots of communication between regions. But the basic organizational structure, the wrinkles that divide your cortex into functional areas, is ancient and conserved. Damage to specific wrinkled regions causes specific problems. Damage to the visual cortex causes blindness. Damage to the motor cortex causes paralysis. This spatial organization of function is one of the clearest principles in neuroscience. Your brain produces new neurons in specific regions, even in adulthood. For most of the 20th century, neuroscientists believed that neurogenesis, the birth of new neurons, occurred only during fetal development. After childhood, you had the neurons you were going to have. Any damage was permanent. Any deficits were forever. But this turned out to be wrong. In the 1960s, researchers discovered that new neurons are born in the adult hippocampus, that seahorse-shaped structure crucial for memory. This discovery was shocking. It meant the brain retained some capacity for renewal. The new neurons integrate into existing circuits. They contribute to memory formation. They seem to be involved in distinguishing similar memories from each other. An old memory and a new memory might be almost identical, but your brain needs to keep them separate. The new neurons might be helping with that. Neurogenesis continues throughout your life, though the rate slows with age. It's stimulated by learning and exercise. It's reduced by stress and depression. This discovery opened up new possibilities for treating neurodegenerative diseases. Maybe we could stimulate neurogenesis to compensate for lost neurons. The fact that your brain can still make new neurons, even in adulthood, is a crack in the wall of a fixed brain. Your brain's left hemisphere tends to prefer language and sequence, while the right prefers music and spatial patterns. This is a massive oversimplification, but there's some truth to the split. The left hemisphere tends to be more involved in language production and understanding. It's more involved in logical, step-by-step reasoning. The right hemisphere tends to be more involved in music and spatial navigation. It tends to handle holistic, pattern-based processing. But again, these are tendencies. Both hemispheres are involved in virtually everything. A musician uses both hemispheres extensively. A linguist uses both hemispheres extensively. The idea that people are left-brained or right-brained is not scientifically accurate, but the basic hemispheric specialization is real. The two hemispheres are in constant communication. They're sharing information all the time. The corpus callosum, that thick bundle of fibers connecting them, is massive. Severing it causes strange problems where the two hemispheres seem to have conflicting goals. But in normal functioning, the hemispheres are integrated. You don't experience yourself as two separate entities. You experience yourself as unified. The brain's integration is remarkable. Despite being divided into regions with different specializations, you experience consciousness as singular and unified. Your brain can adapt to represent the body differently after injury or amputation. If you lose a limb, your brain remaps. The area of your sensory cortex that used to receive input from that limb doesn't go unused. It gets recruited to process input from adjacent body parts. Someone with an amputated hand might find that their face is more sensitive because the facial representation is now using some of the neural territory that used to represent the hand. This is both remarkable and sometimes problematic. Some people experience phantom limb sensations where they feel their missing limb. This happens because the sensory cortex still exists. The brain is still receiving signals from the area where the hand used to be, even though there's no hand anymore. the pain can be intense. But knowing what's happening, understanding that it's a remapping issue, can help. Some people find relief using a mirror box, where they can see their remaining limb reflected in a mirror, creating the illusion that their missing limb is still there. The brain's plasticity means it can't always distinguish between accurate and inaccurate representations of the body. Your brain has a weak point when it comes to time. Your brain can perceive the present moment. It can remember the past. It can anticipate the future. But it struggles with long durations. Ask someone how long a minute is without looking at a clock, and they'll usually be off by a significant margin. Time seems to pass differently in different states. Under stress, in danger, time seems to slow. When you're absorbed in something, time flies. When you're bored, time crawls. Your brain doesn't have a dedicated clock in the way a wristwatch does. Instead, it seems to estimate duration based on attention and memory. The more attention you pay to time passing, the longer it seems to last. The more memorable events in a period, the longer that period seems in retrospect. This is why waiting in a doctor's office feels eternal in the moment, but brief in memory. You're paying close attention to time while you're waiting, so it seems long. But afterward, it's a blur, so it seems short. Your brain's handling of time is more about meaning-making than accuracy. Your brain filters certain sensations away, so you don't constantly notice them. You're probably not aware of your clothing touching your skin right now. But that sensation is there all the time. Your brain decided it wasn't important, so it filtered it out. This process is called sensory gating or sensory habituation. Your brain is constantly receiving sensations from every part of your body and every sense. Most of this information is irrelevant. Your brain has learned to filter out the constant background sensations so you can focus on what matters. But this filtering is not absolute. If your clothing moves in an unexpected way, or if it becomes uncomfortable, suddenly you notice it. Your brain has decided it's relevant. The filtering system is adaptive, but it's also vulnerable to manipulation. If someone repeatedly exposes you to a stimulus, your brain habituates. You notice it less and less. This is why ads become less effective over time. This is why you can ignore a ticking clock after a while, even though the ticking hasn't changed. Your brain has decided it's not important. The downside is that you can become habituated to things you should probably be paying attention to. Your brain seems to have something like a narrative self that creates the story of who you are. You have a sense of continuity. You remember your past. You anticipate your future. You feel like you're the same person today that you were yesterday, and that you'll be tomorrow. But this sense of continuity might be largely constructed. Your brain is creating a narrative, connecting memories and experiences into a coherent story. This narrative self serves important functions. It allows you to plan for the future. It allows you to maintain relationships. It allows you to hold yourself accountable for past actions. But the narrative can also be deceiving. People remember their past differently than it actually happened. They remember being more consistent than they were. They remember their past reactions as more similar to their current reactions than they actually were. Your brain is constructing a story where you're more coherent and consistent than you actually are. This narrative is functional. It helps you operate. but it's also a fiction. The real you is probably messier and less consistent than the story your brain tells about you. Your brain has regions dedicated to understanding other people's mental states. You have a theory of mind. You can infer that someone is angry just by looking at their face because you understand anger. You can tell when someone is lying because you understand honesty. You can predict how someone will react to news because you understand their personality. These abilities depend on a network of brain regions that work together to represent mental states. The temporoparietal junction is thought to be crucial for theory of mind. Damage to this region can impair your ability to understand what other people are thinking. Interestingly, autism spectrum conditions seem to involve differences in theory of mind processing. Some autistic people report finding it difficult to automatically infer at others are thinking, but autistic people can often learn to do this explicitly through conscious reasoning, even if it doesn't happen automatically. Your brain's theory of mind is powerful, but not infallible. You're constantly misunderstanding what people think and feel. You overestimate how much others think about you. You assume others share your perspective when they don't. You're running theory of mind on incomplete information, and sometimes you get it wrong. Your brain relies on rhythm and cycles to function optimally. You have circadian rhythms, biological cycles that repeat roughly every 24 hours. These aren't just about sleep and waking. Your circadian rhythm influences your hormone levels, your body temperature, your appetite, your alertness, your mood. Different functions peak at different times of day. Your body temperature is lowest in the early morning hours. Your cortisol is highest in the early morning, helping you wake up. Your melatonin rises in the evening, helping you sleep. Your cognitive performance peaks in late morning for most people. Your body naturally builds in afternoon dips where alertness declines. Your brain is tuned to these rhythms. It's expecting certain inputs and outputs at certain times. When you violate these rhythms, when you sleep at the wrong time or eat at the wrong time or try to do cognitively demanding work at your personal low point, your brain has to work harder. You can adapt to new rhythms, like when you travel across time zones, but it takes time. Your brain isn't just flexible, it's rhythmic. It expects patterns. It thrives on predictability. Your brain has multiple memory systems, and they operate independently. You have working memory, which holds information in your mind right now. You have short-term memory, which can hold information for a few seconds to minutes. You have long-term memory, which can hold information for years or decades. But there are also distinctions based on the type of memory. You have declarative memory, which is conscious and explicit. You can declare what you remember. You have procedural memory, which is implicit and automatic. You can't easily declare what you remember because the knowledge is embedded in your skills and habits. You have semantic memory, which is memory for facts and concepts. You have episodic memory, which is memory for specific experiences. These systems operate through different brain mechanisms. Damage to the hippocampus can impair episodic memory while leaving semantic memory and procedural memory largely intact. Someone might lose the ability to remember specific events, but retain facts and skills. This suggests that memories aren't stored in a unified way. They're divided up across different neural systems. Your brain is full of contradictions and competing motivations. Your brain has multiple networks that sometimes work together and sometimes work against each other. Your prefrontal cortex wants you to eat healthily. Your reward system wants you to eat cake. Your conscious goals want you to go to bed early. Your fatigue system wants you to stay up watching videos. Your amygdala wants you to avoid the scary situation. Your higher cortex wants you to face your fears. You're not unified. You're a collection of competing systems that have to negotiate with each other. Sometimes one system wins. Sometimes another wins. This is why you can be of two minds about something. This is why you can want something and not want it at the same time. This is why your behavior is sometimes inconsistent with your values. Your brain isn't malfunctioning when this happens. It's doing what it's designed to do. Your brain is built from evolutionary layers. You have ancient systems designed to keep you safe and fed and reproducing. You have newer systems designed for abstract reasoning and planning. These systems don't always want the same things. Your brain can process information outside of conscious awareness. You think you're consciously controlling your behavior, but much of what your brain does happens below your conscious radar. Your eyes are constantly moving in tiny jerks called saccades. You're not aware of it. Your brain is controlling these movements. Your brain is processing information about facial expressions and body language. You're not aware of most of it consciously, but it's influencing your mood. Your brain is making predictions about what will happen next. You're not aware of this process, but it's shaping your perception. You think you're consciously perceiving the world, but actually, you're perceiving your brain's interpretation of a small fraction of the sensory information available. The majority of what your brain is doing is unconscious. Some neuroscientists estimate that about 90% of your brain's processing is unconscious. This doesn't mean you're not in control. It means control is more complicated than it feels. You're not a unified conscious entity controlling an unconscious brain. You're mostly unconscious processes that occasionally become conscious. Your brain can have what amounts to multiple personalities if the corpus callosum connecting the hemispheres is severed. There are patients who have had this surgery to treat severe epilepsy. When the corpus callosum is cut, the two hemispheres can no longer communicate as they normally do. The result is genuinely strange. If you present information only to the right hemisphere, the person can't verbally report what they've seen, because the language regions in the left hemisphere don't have access to that information. But the right hemisphere still responds behaviorally. This suggests that each hemisphere has some degree of independence. Each hemisphere seems to have its own preferences, its own goals. In one famous case, the right hemisphere of a patient indicated it wanted to be a draftsman, while the left hemisphere indicated it wanted to be a car racer. It's as if there are two entities in one body when the hemispheres are severed. But in normal brains, with an intact corpus callosum, the hemispheres are so well integrated that you feel like a unified entity. The integration is so seamless that you don't experience it. This reminds us that consciousness might be more fragmented than it feels. Your brain's sense of pain is constructed, not just detected. You might think pain is straightforward. You have an injury. Your pain receptors fire. Your brain registers pain. But it's actually much more complicated. Pain is constructed from sensory information, emotional responses, memories, and expectations. Your brain can produce the experience of pain without sensory input from an injury. You can feel phantom pain from a limb that's no longer there. You can have chronic pain that persists after an injury has healed because your brain continues to generate pain signals. Conversely, you can be injured and not feel pain if your attention is directed elsewhere, or if your brain doesn't register the injury as a threat. Soldiers in battle have reported not noticing injuries until after the battle was over. Your brain can modulate pain based on context. Heat is painful if you're expecting cold. Heat is pleasant if you're expecting it. Your expectations influence your pain. This is why placebos work. You expect to feel better, and somehow your brain produces relief. This is why nocebos work. You expect to feel worse, and somehow your brain produces increased pain. Pain isn't just a sensory signal. It's a constructed experience. Your brain is a prediction machine that's often wrong. Your brain is constantly generating predictions about what will happen next. But these predictions are often inaccurate. You predict what people will say, and you're often wrong. You predict how you'll feel in the future, and you're often wrong. You predict what will make you happy, and you're often wrong. There's a phenomenon called effective forecasting error. You're bad at predicting how you'll feel. You overestimate how much future events will affect you. You think that getting that promotion will make you much happier. It does, briefly. But then you adapt. You adapt to almost everything. New job, you adapt. New house, you adapt. New relationship, you adapt. Your brain is optimized for the novel, not for the sustained. This is actually adaptive. It keeps you motivated to seek improvement. But it also means you're constantly wrong about your own future experiences. Your brain is trying to predict the future, and it's failing regularly. But you don't notice because you're not keeping score. You don't go back and check whether your predictions were accurate. You just move forward with new predictions. Your brain needs novelty to function optimally. Your brain is constantly seeking novelty. New experiences, new information, new challenges. This is called the drive for novelty. It's why you get bored doing the same thing over and over. It's why you want to travel, to meet new people, to learn new things. Your brain is wired to seek out unexpected experiences, but novelty also challenges your brain. Your brain has to work harder to process unexpected things. This is why you remember novel experiences more vividly than routine experiences. The novel things stand out. Your brain is designed to notice and remember things that differ from expectations. But your brain also needs stability. Too much novelty and your brain becomes overwhelmed and stressed. You need balance. You need some routine and predictability. You need some novel challenges. The optimal state is probably somewhere in between. Not too much chaos. Not too much routine. Just enough novelty to keep your brain engaged, and just enough structure to keep you from feeling lost. Your brain produces consciousness, but nobody really knows how. This is the hard problem of consciousness. You have subjective experiences. You know what red looks like. You know what pain feels like. You know what it's like to be you. But scientists don't fully understand how physical brain processes produce these subjective experiences. You could imagine a brain that processes all the information you do but has no conscious experience. A philosophical zombie, philosophers call it. But your brain doesn't work that way. Your brain somehow produces consciousness. Somehow, neurons firing and neurotransmitters binding and electrical signals moving around produce the experience of being alive and aware. We have theories. We think consciousness might emerge from the integrated information processing across the brain. We think it might be related to the global broadcast of information to multiple brain systems. We think it might require the right kind of feedback loops, but we don't know for sure. Consciousness remains one of the greatest mysteries. You're conscious right now. You're having an experience. But your brain's mechanism for creating this experience is still largely unknown. Isn't that remarkable? The very thing that makes you who you are is something we don't fully understand. Yet knowing this is not the end of what your brain does. Your brain has reward systems that drive your behavior. When you accomplish something, your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is not just pleasure, it's motivation. It's the chemical that makes you want something. It's the chemical that makes you try. Your brain's reward system is learning constantly. Every time something good happens, your brain is updating its predictions about what will lead to reward. This is operant conditioning. This is how habits form. Do something, get rewarded, your brain learns to do it again. Your brain is learning what to want based on experience. This is why addiction happens. Drugs hijack the reward system. They trigger dopamine release that's much stronger than natural rewards. Your brain learns that the drug is extremely valuable. It rewires its priorities. Natural rewards become less appealing. The brain isn't malfunctioning. It's doing what it's designed to do. It's just getting the wrong input. Your brain has multiple neurotransmitters that modulate your mood and perception. Dopamine is motivation. Serotonin seems to be involved in mood and well-being. Low serotonin is associated with depression. GABA is inhibitory. It calms things down. Glutamate is excitatory. It ramps things up. Acetylcholine is involved in attention and learning. Norepinephrine is involved in arousal and alertness. These chemicals are not evenly distributed. Different brain regions have different concentrations. Your prefrontal cortex relies heavily on dopamine. Your amygdala is modulated by serotonin and GABA. Your hippocampus is affected by acetylcholine. Your brain regions have different pharmacological profiles. This is why drugs affect different people differently. It's why medications for depression might not work for everyone. It's why caffeine wakes some people up and makes others anxious. Your brain chemistry is unique to you. Your brain exhibits neuroplasticity throughout your life, not just in childhood. For years, neuroscientists believed that the critical periods of brain plasticity were limited to early childhood and adolescence. After that, the brain structure was mostly fixed. You could learn new information, but the physical structure of your brain would remain stable. But this turned out to be too pessimistic. Your brain retains significant plasticity throughout adulthood. Learning new skills causes changes in brain structure. London taxi drivers, who have to memorize thousands of streets, have larger hippocampi than controls. Musicians have larger auditory and motor cortices. Blind people who learn to read Braille have enlarged sensory regions. Your brain physically changes in response to what you do. This plasticity declines with age, but it doesn't disappear. You can learn new things and your brain will restructure itself accordingly. This has profound implications for recovery from brain injury. Someone who has a stroke might regain function because other brain regions can take over. It takes intensive practice, but the brain can rewire itself. Neuroplasticity means your brain is not a fixed organ. It's dynamic. It's responsive to your actions. Your brain can regulate emotions through different strategies. When you feel an intense emotion, you have options for what to do with it. You can suppress it, try not to show it. You can reappraise it, reinterpret what caused it. You can distract yourself. You can sit with it and let it pass. These strategies have different effects on your brain and your well-being. Suppression requires active effort. It activates your prefrontal cortex. It works in the short term, but is exhausting. Reappraisal also activates the prefrontal cortex, but it seems to be more effective long-term. If you can reinterpret what caused your emotion, you can change how you feel. Distraction diverts your attention. It works for transient emotions but leaves the underlying issue unresolved. Acceptance, just allowing the emotion without judgment, seems to be effective without requiring as much effort. Your brain can learn different emotion regulation strategies. Practice makes these strategies more automatic. The more you practice reappraisal, the more readily your brain engages it. Your emotional life is not fixed. Your brain has flexibility in how it processes and responds to emotion. Your brain produces cortisol, a stress hormone, and this is actually necessary. Cortisol is often talked about as bad, something to avoid. But cortisol is essential. It helps you wake up in the morning. It provides energy for dealing with challenges. Without cortisol, you'd be lethargic. The problem is not cortisol itself, but chronic elevation. If your cortisol is high all the time because you're constantly stressed, that's damaging. Chronic stress raises cortisol, which impairs immune function, disrupts sleep, and damages the hippocampus. This is why stress affects memory. This is why you can't sleep when you're anxious. Your body is in a state of alert. But acute cortisol in response to an actual challenge, is useful. Your brain needs some stress to function optimally. The key is recovery. After the stressor passes, your cortisol should return to baseline. If you're constantly stressed, you don't get this recovery period. Your brain needs rest. Your brain dreams during REM sleep, and dreams serve functions we're still discovering. During REM sleep, your brain is highly active. Your eyes move rapidly. Your muscles are temporarily paralyzed, and you're dreaming. What are dreams for? We don't fully know. One theory is that dreams are the brain's way of processing emotional information. During the day, you experience emotions. During REM sleep, your brain processes these emotions. Another theory is that dreams are the brain simulating scenarios. Your brain is running simulations of potential situations. This allows you to practice responses. If you dream about a challenging conversation, you're rehearsing. This might prepare you for the real conversation. Another theory is that dreams are just the brain's activity during sleep, and the story-like quality of dreams is your brain trying to make sense of random neural firing. We don't know which of these is correct, or if they're all partially true. What we do know is that REM sleep is important. Deprive someone of REM sleep, and they become irritable, anxious, and have trouble concentrating. Your brain needs dreams. It needs that REM sleep time. Your brain produces different wave patterns depending on your state of consciousness. When you're awake and alert, your brain produces beta waves, fast oscillations. When you're relaxed but awake, your brain produces alpha waves, slower but still relatively fast. When you're in light sleep, your brain produces theta waves. When you're in deep sleep, your brain produces delta waves, very slow. These waves are produced by the synchronized firing of many neurons. When neurons are firing in sync, they produce larger electrical signatures that EEG can pick up. When neurons are firing randomly, the signals cancel out. The wave pattern reflects how organized your brain activity is. Different states of consciousness have different degrees of neural organization. Interestingly, some meditation practices are associated with particular wave patterns. Advanced meditators sometimes show increased alpha and theta waves, reflecting a state between alertness and sleep. Your brain's electrical rhythm changes as you move through different states of consciousness and different activities. Your brain has an attention bottleneck. You have far more sensory information available than you can process. Right now, there are sounds, visual information, tactile sensations, smells, tastes. Your brain is filtering most of it out. Attention is the process of selecting what to process. Only a fraction of available information gets into conscious awareness. This is why you can be looking directly at something and not see it if your attention is directed elsewhere. This is why magicians can hide things in plain sight. They manipulate your attention. Your brain can only focus on a limited amount of information. This bottleneck is fundamental to how your brain works. It's actually adaptive. If your brain tried to consciously process everything available, you'd be overwhelmed. The bottleneck allows you to focus, but it also means you're missing most of what's available. You're only consciously aware of a tiny slice of reality. Your brain is filtering aggressively. Your brain processes language in specialized regions, and these regions have surprising flexibility. Broca's area in the left frontal lobe is involved in language production. Wernicke's area in the left temporal lobe is involved in language comprehension. Damage to these regions causes specific language problems. But the brain's language processing is more complex than just these two areas. Many other regions are involved. And crucially, some people who have these regions damaged can still recover language ability through other regions. Particularly in children, the brain can shift language processing to the right hemisphere if the left hemisphere is damaged. The brain's language systems have redundancy and flexibility. Additionally, your brain processes language at multiple levels simultaneously. It's processing sounds, meanings, grammar, context. These processes happen in parallel. Your brain is incredibly efficient at parsing language. You don't have to consciously think about grammar. Your brain handles it automatically. Language processing is one of your brain's most sophisticated abilities. Your brain has specialized regions for recognizing faces. face recognition is not distributed throughout your cortex. It's localized. There's a region called the fusiform face area that responds specifically to faces. There's another region in the superior temporal sulcus that's involved in processing facial expressions and gaze direction. Damage to these regions causes prosopagnosia, an inability to recognize faces. Someone with prosopagnosia might see your face and not recognize you, even if you're someone they've known their whole life. Interestingly, this is specific to faces. They can recognize you by your voice or your body or your clothing. But the visual face doesn't trigger recognition. This suggests that face processing is special in the brain. Faces are important for social animals. Your brain has evolved specialized machinery for processing them. Your brain recognizes faces incredibly quickly. You can recognize someone in a fraction of a second. You can even recognize someone based on a minimal amount of information, a partial face, a face in shadows. Your face recognition is robust and flexible. Your brain perceives motion through specialized mechanisms. You have neurons that respond specifically to motion. These neurons in your middle temporal cortex respond when something moves in a particular direction. If a line moves to the right, certain neurons fire. If it moves to the left, different neurons fire. Your brain is detecting the direction and speed of motion. Interestingly, this motion detection is not just visual. You have neurons that respond to biological motion, motion that looks like a living thing moving. Even a few dots arranged in a pattern and moving, your brain recognizes it as motion from a living creature. Your brain extracts the pattern of motion and recognizes it. This is useful for detecting animals or people in your environment. Your brain is sensitive to biological motion, probably because it's evolutionarily adaptive. Detecting other living things is important for survival. Your brain has evolved to be particularly good at extracting this kind of information. Your brain processes music differently than speech. While both are sounds, they activate different neural networks. Speech primarily activates language regions. Music activates additional regions involved in emotion, reward, and memory. Listening to music you enjoy activates your reward system. It triggers dopamine release. This is why music feels good. Music also activates your auditory cortex, but in ways different from speech. Your brain is sensitive to the structure of music, the patterns and relationships between notes. Musical training actually changes brain structure. Musicians have larger auditory and motor cortices. Musical training improves cognitive abilities beyond music. Musicians tend to perform better on verbal tasks and mathematical tasks. This suggests that musical training enhances general cognitive function. Music engages your brain intensely. It's not just sound. It's pattern recognition, emotion, memory, and reward all at once. Your brain makes moral judgments through multiple neural systems. You might think that morality is purely cognitive, that you judge actions as right or wrong through reasoning, but your brain actually relies heavily on emotion. Your ventromedial prefrontal cortex and your amygdala are involved in moral judgment. These are emotional regions. When you encounter something immoral, you don't just think it's wrong. You feel revulsion, anger, disgust. These emotions are central to moral judgment. Your brain makes quick moral judgments based on emotional responses. When you have time to think, you can override these emotional responses through conscious reasoning. But your initial moral intuitions are emotional. This is why different people have such different moral views. They have different national responses to the same situations. This is also why it's hard to convince people of moral positions that conflict with their emotional intuitions. You're not just disagreeing about facts. You're disagreeing about emotional responses. Your brain is not purely rational in its moral judgments. It's emotional and intuitive. Your brain assesses risk through emotional and cognitive systems that sometimes conflict. The amygdala, responding emotionally, might make something seem more dangerous than it is. Your cortex, doing the math, might conclude that the risk is negligible. This is why people fear flying despite the statistics showing it's very safe. Your emotional system sees the height and the confined space and responds with fear. Your cognitive system knows the statistics, but the emotional response dominates. On the other hand, your brain sometimes underestimates risks. Your cortex might calculate that the risk is small, and your amygdala doesn't respond with fear. So you take risks you shouldn't. Teenagers are notorious for risk-taking because their emotional systems are more developed than their prefrontal cortices. They can reason about risk, but their emotional responses to reward dominate. Your brain's risk assessment is not purely rational. It's a mix of emotion and cognition, and they don't always agree. Your brain develops habits through repeated behavior, and habits become automatic. When you first learn a behavior, your prefrontal cortex is heavily engaged. You're consciously thinking about each step. But with repetition, your brain transfers control to other regions. The striatum, or basal ganglia, takes over. The behavior becomes automatic. You're not thinking about it anymore. Habits are efficient. They don't require conscious attention or energy. This is adaptive for behaviors you do frequently. But habits can be problematic if they're unhelpful. Trying to break a habit requires regaining conscious control. It requires re-engaging your prefrontal cortex. This is why breaking a habit is exhausting. You're actively fighting the automatic process. Your brain resists because the automatic process is more efficient. But your brain can develop new habits to replace old ones. This is usually easier than trying to break a habit without replacing it. Your brain wants efficiency. Habits are efficiency. This is why they're powerful. Your brain experiences addiction as a change in how it values things. When you're addicted, your brain's reward system has been altered. The addictive substance or behavior has become extremely salient. Your brain is prioritizing it above other goals. You know logically that you should stop, but your brain values the substance more than other things. This isn't weakness. This is a hijacked reward system. Your brain has been trained to value something that's not in your interest. Addiction involves changes in dopamine signaling, changes in the prefrontal cortex's ability to inhibit reward seeking, and changes in stress systems. Multiple neural systems are involved. Recovery from addiction involves rewiring these systems. This is why addiction is hard to overcome and why relapse is common. But your brain can rewire itself. People do recover from addiction. It takes time and effort, but neuroplasticity means change is possible. Your brain is not permanently damaged by addiction. Your brain ages, and this has specific patterns. Different brain regions age at different rates. Your frontal lobe tends to show earlier signs of aging. Your processing speed declines with age. It takes longer to think. But many types of knowledge actually improve with age. You know more. You have better judgment. Your emotional regulation improves. You're better at managing emotions as you age. Crystallized intelligence, knowledge, and skills accumulated over your life remain stable or improves with age. Fluid intelligence. The ability to solve novel problems declines. But this decline is not uniform. People vary dramatically. Someone who exercises, continues learning, and engages socially can maintain cognitive function much better than someone who doesn't. This suggests that aging of the brain is partly inevitable and partly dependent on lifestyle. You can slow cognitive aging through activity. Your brain is not automatically declining with age. It's changing. Some functions decline, others improve. The trajectory is not fixed. Your brain responds to exercise by growing. When you exercise, you're not just working your body, you're working your brain. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain. It stimulates the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that supports neuron growth and survival. Exercise stimulates neurogenesis, the growth of new neurons. Exercise improves cognitive function. Regular exercisers have better attention, better memory, better executive function. Exercise is particularly good for the hippocampus. The more you exercise, the larger your hippocampus. This might seem strange, that physical activity is good for brain health. But your brain evolved in a body. Your brain evolved in a context of physical activity. Your brain is still responsive to physical activity. This is why sitting still all day is bad for your brain. Your brain wants you to move. Your brain relies on nutrition for optimal function. Your brain consumes about 1/5 of your body's energy, and it's selective about what fuel it uses. Glucose is important. Your brain runs on glucose. When you're hungry, your ability to concentrate suffers. But not all calories are equal. Your brain is sensitive to omega-3 fatty acids. These are important for neuronal membranes. Your brain is sensitive to certain vitamins, particularly B vitamins. Your brain is sensitive to minerals like iron and zinc. Your diet is literally becoming your brain structure. The food you eat becomes the structure and chemistry of your brain. This is why nutrition is important for cognitive function. You cannot think clearly if you're malnourished. This is also why certain foods might affect mood or attention. Your brain's chemistry depends on what you eat. This is not to say that food has magical properties, but your brain is dependent on specific nutrients. Feeding your brain well is a literal investment in cognitive function. Your brain responds to meditation in measurable ways. Meditation has been practiced for thousands of years, and now neuroscientists are studying what it does to the brain. Meditation practitioners show changes in brain structure and function. Meditation seems to increase gray matter in the prefrontal cortex. Meditation practitioners show reduced amygdala activity. They show increased connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and amygdala, suggesting better emotion regulation. Meditation practitioners show changes in their default mode network, that network involved in self-referential thinking. The changes correlate with reported feelings of calmness and well-being. This is not magic. It's brain plasticity in response to a specific practice. Your brain can be trained through meditation. It's a skill. With practice, the changes become more stable. Meditation is evidence that your brain responds to mental practice, not just physical activity. Your thoughts can reshape your brain. Your brain has different sleep stages, and each serves functions. Light sleep, stages 1 and 2, are transitional. Your brain is slowing down. Deep sleep, stage 3, is when your brain is doing a lot of consolidation work. Your body releases growth hormone. Your brain is consolidating memories. REM sleep, as mentioned, is when you dream. Each stage seems to serve specific functions. Deep sleep seems important for memory consolidation. REM sleep seems important for emotional processing. Light sleep might serve as a transition between states. When you sleep, you cycle through these stages multiple times. You need all of them. If you're deprived of deep sleep or REM sleep specifically, you suffer cognitive and emotional consequences. Your sleep is not uniform. It's structured. Your brain consolidates memories differently depending on the type of memory and the time since learning. In the first minutes and hours after learning something, your short-term memory system is active. Over hours and days, your brain transfers information into long-term storage. This process is called systems consolidation. During sleep, this process accelerates. Your hippocampus replays events. This replay helps transfer information to your cortex. Over time, memories become more stable and less dependent on the hippocampus. They become distributed across cortical networks. This is why old memories are more resilient. They're stored more broadly. New memories are fragile. They depend on the hippocampus. This is also why sleep disrupts memory consolidation. If you don't sleep after learning something, you're disrupting the consolidation process. Your brain needs time to organize new information. Your brain predicts rewards, and violations of these predictions shape learning. Your brain is constantly predicting what reward you'll receive. When something better than expected happens, prediction error occurs. This prediction error is a signal that your brain uses to update its models. You learn from surprise. If everything goes as expected, you learn little. But when something violates your expectations, you learn a lot. This is why novel experiences are memorable. This is why violations of social norms are shocking and memorable. This is why plot twists are engaging. Your brain is engaged by prediction error. It's adjusting its models. This is also why habituation happens. Once you predict something correctly, it stops being novel. Your brain stops being surprised. Prediction and prediction error are central to how your brain learns. Your brain can be conditioned to fear things through association. Fear conditioning is a form of learning where your brain associates something neutral with something dangerous. If you hear a sound, and then an electric shock follows, your brain learns to fear the sound. This is because your amygdala is learning the association. This conditioning happens automatically. You don't have to consciously decide to fear the sound. Your amygdala learns through experience. This is adaptive. It allows your brain to quickly learn about dangers, but it can also be problematic. Someone might be conditioned to fear something harmless. Someone who was in a car accident might develop a fear of cars. The conditioning has linked cars to danger. even though cars are not inherently dangerous. Your brain learned something that's not helpful. But your brain can also learn that something is no longer dangerous. This is extinction learning. If you're repeatedly exposed to the feared thing without the bad consequence, your brain learns that the danger is gone. The sound plays without the shock, and your brain updates its model. Eventually, the fear response diminishes. Your brain is constantly updating its models of what's dangerous. Your brain is designed for social bonding. You have mechanisms that promote bonding with others. Oxytocin, a neurotransmitter, is involved in bonding. Physical contact releases oxytocin. This is why hugs feel good. This is why physical touch is important for well-being. Your brain's reward system responds to social reward. Social connection activates similar brain regions as food or drugs. Social connection is literally rewarding to your brain. Conversely, social exclusion activates pain regions. Being left out hurts. Your brain is built for connection. You're not naturally solitary. Loneliness is harmful to your brain. Lonely people show cognitive decline. Loneliness is associated with decreased immune function. Social connection is protective. People with strong social bonds have better cognitive function, better immune function, better overall health. Your brain evolved in groups. Your brain is optimized for social connection. Isolation is contrary to your brain's design. Your brain simulates empathy through mirror neurons and theory of mind. When you see someone hurt, your brain activates regions involved in pain. When you see someone sad, your brain activates regions involved in sadness. Your brain is simulating their experience. This simulation is the basis of empathy. You understand others by internally representing their states. This is why seeing someone in distress is uncomfortable. You're literally feeling something similar. Mirror neurons are thought to be important for this simulation. But empathy also involves your theory of mind, your ability to reason about what others are thinking. Empathy is not just emotional resonance, it's also cognitive understanding. Some people are more empathetic than others. This might reflect differences in their mirror neuron systems, differences in their theory of mind, or differences in how much they care about others. Empathy is a complex phenomenon. Your brain has multiple systems supporting it. Your brain experiences disgust as a protective response. Disgust evolved to protect you from consuming things that might make you sick. Your amygdala responds to disgusting stimuli. Your brain labels things as disgusting. Interestingly, disgust extends beyond food. You can be morally disgusted. Behaviors you consider immoral can trigger disgust. This suggests that your moral judgment system has borrowed the disgust response. Disgust that evolved to protect you from poison has been repurposed. This might explain why moral language often includes references to disgust. Something is disgusting. Someone is despicable. Your brain is extending biological protection mechanisms to social and moral domains. Disgust is useful, but it can also be harmful. People can become overly disgusted, avoiding things that are actually safe. Or people can be disgust-sensitive to particular groups of people, associating them with contamination. Your disgust response is malleable. You can learn to be less disgusted by something through exposure. Your brain experiences depression as a change in how it values and processes information. Depression is not just sadness. In depression, things that usually feel rewarding feel flat. Your reward system is not responding normally. Your brain is not generating motivational drive. Motivation is gone. This is why depression involves loss of interest in activities you usually enjoy. Your brain's reward system has changed. Additionally, in depression, your attention is drawn to negative information. Your brain becomes biased toward negativity. Negative memories are more accessible. Negative interpretations of ambiguous situations seem more likely. Your brain's information processing is biased. Depression involves multiple changes in brain function and chemistry. Treatment might involve medication to restore neurotransmitter balance. Treatment might involve therapy to help you change thought patterns and rebuild reward sensitivity. Your brain can recover from depression, and in this moment, as you rest and these facts drift through your awareness, remember that your brain is doing remarkable things right now. It's regulating your heartbeat and your breathing. It's filtering sensations so you can focus on what matters. It's consolidating memories from your day. It's anticipating tomorrow. Your brain is the most complex object in the known universe, and it's yours. It's working for you right now, even as you rest. Your brain is proof that you are not separate from nature. You are nature becoming aware of itself. You are biology that has become conscious. You are processes that somehow produce experience, and that is extraordinary. The more we learn about your brain, the more mysterious consciousness becomes. But that mystery is not something to fear. It's something to wonder at. Your brain is the source of everything you are and everything you can become. It's worthy of wonder. So drift now, knowing that your brain is working even in sleep. Your brain is learning, consolidating, processing, preparing. Your brain is the machinery of your experience and also the mystery of your existence. Let your thoughts settle. Let your mind rest. Your brain will continue its work. And tomorrow, you'll wake to a brain that's slightly different than it was today. Transformed by experience, by rest, by the simple act of living. That transformation is neuroplasticity. That's your brain being alive. That's the beauty of being human. Sleep now, and let your brain do what it was built to do. Process, integrate, prepare for tomorrow. Good night.